Hey everyone, and welcome. So I'm thrilled to be hosting today's conversation with two leaders behind one of the most impressive digital transformations in Canadian retail, Pet Valu. Over the past years, Pet Valu went from having no e-commerce presence to launching a scalable, modern digital platform, all the while staying true to what makes the brand special: personal, high-touch service for pet lovers across the country. This isn't just a story about upgrading technology, it's about how business and engineering worked hand in hand to rethink the customer experience, move fast, and build a future-ready foundation. Whether you're at the beginning of your digital journey or deep in the trenches, there's a lot to learn here. But before I invite our guests, let's watch a short video.
Brought to you by Pet Valu, where love makes every pet feel at home.
Great. Well, I'm very happy to invite Rohan Cherian and Scott Johnston to join me. Great. Thank you both so much for joining today. Before we dive in, of course, can you please introduce yourselves and your roles, and maybe also tell us a little bit about Pet Valu for those who are unfamiliar? We saw the video, but still. Rohan, do you want to kick off?
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks for having us. We're thrilled to be here. Can I get a quick show of hands of how many people in the audience have pets? That's practically everyone. Fantastic. So for those of you who don't know who Pet Valu is, we're a leading specialty retailer for pet food and supplies across multiple banners, brands, and assortments. We're almost 49 years old, coming up on 49 years. We have a little north of 850 stores across Canada, and our mission is to be the preferred pet retailer for pet products, pet care, expertise, and meaningful moments. We're proudly Canadian. We're proudly local. We're hyperactive in neighborhoods and charitable communities coast to coast. A little bit about me, I lead the digital engineering and customer-facing tech. What that means is if a customer essentially interacts with the store, whether it's software, online, or in-store, it usually falls within my team. I'm personally excited and grateful to be here because part of the modernization journey is also making sure that we can take care of our pet parents and take care of our we call them DPLs, devoted pet lovers. So one of the key things that when I joined, I learned a lot about the care that Pet Valu gives to devoted pet lovers specifically. So as a pet parent myself, and I had a pandemic puppy about 4.5 years ago, so you just go through that same exercise of understanding how much care people give for their DPLs, and what does it mean to have like a pet at home that you want to care for, right? So my focus in tech specifically is to use tech as an enabler to deliver value, and to not just make sure that it is reliable, but it's quick, reliable, and consistent. One of the key things that we focus on is making sure that it's cost effective, and also the fact that we understand the business requirements very clearly.
Scott?
And I'm Scott. I'm the VP of eCommerce and Customer Experience for Pet Valu. So that means I've got the business end of the digital properties, plus the customer care team reports into me. So everything that's good that our devoted pet lovers are telling us, and everything that's not so good comes into us, which is handy because then we can work closely together to solve those challenges. Our teams do work very closely together to bring that expected experience to life for those devoted pet lovers, our customers. We have an agile Scrum setup where the product owners are working to drive the backlog into engineers on Rohan's team. We're divided up into the customer journey, so we've got search and discovery, we've got cart, checkout, fulfillment, post-purchase, we've got loyalty and DPL communications, we've got SEO analytics, we've got microsites tucked in there as well. So we really try to make sure that we're hitting all the points from A to Z as a customer is moving through their digital life cycle. The POs bring to life the backlog to work based on bugs, based on strategic initiatives, based on what we're hearing from customers, and that all drives the work that's happening into Rohan's teams. Pods are self-organizing with the Scrum Masters, removing roadblocks and ensuring that they achieve a successful 2-week sprint with working software at the end of those 2 weeks. Those business users, all the devs, the QAs, the SMs, the POs, all those folks are working together in constant communication on the commercetools product to make sure that we meet those expectations for our DPLs.
Great, thank you so much. And we said Pet Valu, you're relatively new to digital commerce. You've launched your first ever digital commerce experience in the last 5 years. Could you give us a little bit of background on what was the motivation for the digital transformation that you led? And what were you looking to build? Why did you select commercetools? You touched on this a little bit, but just a little bit more.
Yeah, so pre-COVID, we were about 600 stores, and the business made the decision to say, hey, we really want to be in every neighborhood in Canada. We're going to expand to about 1,200 stores. We knew we needed a digital experience that mirrored our best-in-class in-store experience. When you come to a Pet Valu, you're going to be greeted by an ACE, an animal care expert, who is really going to be with you throughout the life cycle of your pet to make sure that you're super successful. And we knew we needed a digital experience that was going to be able to mirror that if we were going to have this large-scale growth. And then COVID hit, and we had to do what we had to do in order to support the customer in an online way because our stores were unfortunately closed for in-store shopping. We learned very quickly through that the monolithic platform, I think you've heard it from almost everybody else on this stage today, that monolithics are not fun to deal with, they're expensive, they're hard to update, and they don't really get you everything that you always wanted. So our priority became to find another way to deliver that experience to the customers.
Yeah, so I guess a question kind of that I would pose is like, how do you scale a personalized real-time experience across 800 plus stores across Canada without losing speed or flexibility? So we asked ourselves that question, and that became one of the core reasons why when we started to think about what the future would look like, we realized we needed to build a digital experience that matched the expertise and personalization that our customers came to know and love in store. So we wanted to bring that online as well. And commercetools aligned perfectly with that vision because it was giving us the ability to look at things from a flexible, modular perspective. And kind of like what Scott mentioned, in most of the last 2 days, what we've been hearing about is what legacy platforms and monoliths are kind of being tightly coupled, and they can only go so far. One of the key things for us was really kind of looking at it and thinking about how do we break down these data silos? How do we go away from tightly coupled integrated solutions? And even if you look at a modular system, we really have to have almost like an assembly line in place to understand what that looks like for rapid feature releases, rolling deployments, and even being able to do something that's scalable. In the end, real-time integrations meant that a composable commerce strategy would be needed. Yeah. So that's kind of what kind of led us to a spot to say maybe we should start thinking about standing up our own teams. We already had that when I arrived at Pet Valu. They already had that to a certain extent, but we doubled down hard and brought engineering in-house. So bringing engineering in-house means that you're also doing a lot of vendor management, and you're managing your larger team, no vendor lock-ins. But the big unlocks, I would say, and most of you have probably already experienced that, is that unified data architecture and that cross-channel experience that brings along. But the biggest advantage for us is we went away from risk-prone releases to like de-risk releases and speed and agility.
Amazing. That's great. And I think it's interesting in some of the cases, I guess all throughout the event, it seems that a successful implementation is a lot about the collaboration inside the organization, a lot about commercetools too, but You know, knowing how closely you two work together, can you tell us a little bit about how you approached this together, overhauling this legacy e-commerce, you know, the legacy commerce platform to create the experiences that you wanted? How did your teams work together to deliver on this? Rohan, maybe we start with you.
Yeah, for sure. So I think and we kind of heard it today a little bit, that digital transformation is not as much of a tech project anymore as much as it is a people, culture, mindset project. Yeah. It's really an operating model change, right? So we had to go through what any team would have to go through, and you'll hear me say a lot of cliches like forming, storming, norming. We literally had to go through that. Scott and I came from different backgrounds. We had different styles, different approaches in terms of how we'd solve a problem, but we had the same vision, same mission, same goal, right? Even with our system integrator and looking at the SaaS platform we were bringing on. So one of the things we did was go down the path of agile coaching, re-coaching everybody on the team, reframing our mindset that, you know, we were beginning this journey. It's really important to kind of set the stage on that and make sure that everyone knows that it is something that you have to do together. You check your badges at the door. It's one team mentality. Engineering, product, business, customer care, multiple teams had to align and work really closely. And it was also, you know, we were doing this post-pandemic, so obviously co-location was hard. So both in-person and digital hallways, we co-located as much as we could. And in the end, I would say, you know, if you ask anyone, like, how would you feel if you had someone in your kitchen or many someones in your kitchen basically messing around and saying, this is how you should do it. So architecture, design, lots of stuff was happening, right? So we had a lot of hands in the cookie jar, messy kitchen. We got very, very comfortable with being uncomfortable. And, you know, that would also be like a pro tip for everyone as you kind of go down this journey. But we did basically remind ourselves that what we were going to try and do for our customers is they already had a website they were shopping today. We wanted to replicate those features as much as possible. So you might call it a little bit of a lift and shift, but that is essentially what we did on the front end, and that's what the customers experienced. But on the back end, we ended up looking at a lot of things like boosting speed, reliability, making sure we had like conversion lifts, and we could actually we could actually speak to those. So the pods that we stood up essentially had all of those elements and was people focused. So you had product owners, scrum masters. We never had this in Pet Valu before. We had dev leads that had a front end and back end focus, full stack skill mix. So those became really key. The team structure and the org model was really, really key in uniting the way we did product and engineering. And that was the foundation of how we did the project. We called it Project Leap. And we're coming up on a year almost since we launched on commercetools. We're super proud and happy for the results that we've had over the last little while. But I would say one of the biggest things that we did in delivering this together is cross-functional capabilities across teams, technical squads, DevOps teams, really looking at each one of those things and then creating a governance structure that provided us some clarity in how we would go about doing it.
So, Scott, from a customer experience perspective, what are the things that you can do now that you weren't able to do previously?
Yeah, like Rohan said, was originally the scope of the project was a lift and shift. We were definitely looking for improvements in checkout reliability. We were looking for improvements in performance of the site, especially in mobile and on desktop. And we were looking for really improvements in ease of updating the site so we could get those features that our DPLs were really looking for. Happy to say we got all that plus more on time, on budget, in about 8 months from end to end. Within that implementation, we also added wish lists. We created a custom experience for our seniors, which is a very key shopping customer group for us, so they get their discount automatically online. Seniors are getting much, much better at navigating websites, so we had to take that into consideration when we were doing it. We also expanded our CMS capabilities throughout almost the whole site to give our eComm teams the flexibility to use our CMS pretty much anywhere. Within 45 days of the launch of the site, Rohan's teams were already developing or already releasing new work on the site. Very, very quick. We had a short warranty period window with our SI. And shortly after that, we replaced the tax engine to use the commercetools out of the box engine because it was sufficient for our needs and we didn't need the extra cost and the add-on of the one we had. We updated our pet profile to be faster and a more seamless experience for our customers. That's where our customers can tell us about their pets that they have. We also implemented a custom solution for our shelters that we support. So animal shelters that are ordering in bulk, they get a special discount and special delivery options. So we went ahead and created a custom experience for them using the customer groups. And we're also able to take advantage of the promotion updates that commercetools had, so we could really mirror the in-store experience online. There was a couple of gaps when we launched, but those have since quickly been closed, so that now the exact same experience you have online and the promotions and the pricing that you get is the same that you get in-store. So we're super happy about that. Next up, we're continuing work on multi-banner to support the rest of our banners that we have. We're going to get deep into site personalization, which I think is a topic that we've heard a lot about today. We're adding gift cards and some other things that we're still missing from the original platform. All these things were previously on hold because of that. And we are also happy to say, like everyone else, we got through holiday, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and our busy holiday period with no bumps in the road.
Yeah, amazing. Great. And so from a technical engineering perspective, Rohan, you mentioned how it's almost made you more agile. Can you shed some light on how has composable commerce made a difference for the organization, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. I would say it's composable commerce in general is kind of starting to show early promise of being a game changer. It is key for most folks to kind of understand that we didn't necessarily have we had a transactional website not until 2021.
Yeah.
So for us, when we talk about going to a monolith and then really shortly after that going to something composable, means that you really have to assess and understand how you're going to use it. If anyone in the audience, if you've ever been stuck waiting for months for a release or a feature, whether it's from a SaaS vendor or from your own internal teams, you kind of know what that feels like. That's not us anymore.
Yeah.
So we have now the advantage of being able to do this anytime we want, and we control our destiny in essence. I would say, when I joined here, there was a lot of conversations around like what deployment days look like. It was a big focus on when are we going to deploy this feature, when are we going to get it. And it was funny. Someone on my team just asked me the other day, "Hey, did you know that we deployed today?" Like, people don't even notice deployment days anymore, right? So that is one of the key things you look at, and you realize that we're less focused on deployments because we know we can do that anytime, but we're more focused on getting that feature out and then quickly measuring it and testing it and learning from it. The ability to decouple our front end from our back end and doing pinpoint production pushes, updating feeds, being able to get into any microservice and starting to update something without having to do anything major is pretty powerful. You really do control all of your releases and take out the risk from it, so rollback strategies became easier. From a technical standpoint, I think we've truly embraced and adopted CI/CD along with automation. It's become a core focus for us. We didn't have a DevOps practice before we did this, and now we do. We've got a couple folks on that team. I think even doing rolling deployments and releasing when ready is something that's very near within reach for us. We're working our way to get there. In the end, again, composable commerce has not only broken down those silos, it's given us access to be able to look at what does real-time mean or near real-time mean. Observability is a big piece of what we do now as well, using what we have within Google Cloud, whether it's monitoring or if a job goes down, how does it start self-healing? Just thinking about those kinds of things was not something we could do in the past, and that's completely changed. So in the end, I would say it's a lot of rapid iteration, lots of problem solving, and it's a seamless, scalable experience for our business teams or product teams as well as the customers. And for the engineers, it's true autonomy without chaos. They're able to deliver better, faster, and more confidently. I think that's where we're the happiest, is that we're confident about what we're doing and when it goes out.
Excellent, thank you. So what advice off the back of this would you give other companies, other enterprises that are going through, they're looking to undergo a similar transformation? What are the key learnings, Scott, that you'd maybe share?
Yeah, I think for me it was really making sure you understand what it is you're trying to achieve. Don't prioritize the things that aren't going to be really valuable to you or your customers or the business. And then really make sure that you involve the teams that are going to be using the solution on a day-to-day basis early and often. Partner with your SI. Don't let them go off in a silo and come back with something for you to view. Work day-to-day with them. It was one of the reasons why we were able to develop on the site so quickly after our warranty period. The engineers were locked in with theirs, our product team was locked in with their product team, and we really worked hand in hand to get there. So that was super important. And then also don't forget about the other parts of the organization that you're going to need help from: supply chain, finance, operations, any of the other folks that are going to be affected by this. Involve them early and often. You don't want to get to nearing a release date or a launch date, and then all of a sudden someone sticks their hand up and goes, "Oh, I didn't know about this, and now this is going to be a problem for me." So get ahead of that early and make sure that they're well aware of what's going on.
So a lot of communication, right?
A lot of communication.
Really matters a lot.
Early and often.
Rohan, what about you from your side?
Yeah, I've quite a few, so I'll try and hit these off pretty quickly. But essentially, I would say be intentional and prioritize architecture early on. And when I say be intentional, I mean don't let it happen to you. Really understand what you're trying to go after, and when you get involved with it. Time box perfection. Don't over-engineer, right? Because you're going to get a chance to do that, so that's going to be key. Clarify the problem up front. Really try to start asking yourself those questions as to what problem are you actually solving. Prioritize the outcome of that problem versus focusing on the polish. And do a lot of upfront understanding of data, right? Like what is that? Try and make it's cliched. We talk about making data-driven decisions, but really understand what that looks like. So spending some time upfront on what a scalable, flexible solution means to you is going to be key. And again, I touched on this before about it being like an operating model change. So like you said, Shiri, it's a lot of communication. We heard a lot of people talk specifically about how their monolith was not able to kind of do much more in a platform base. So what we created between our teams and generally the organization is this living assembly line. So people, process, and tech is not just a trifecta. It's something that we've actually, that's how we show up every day. Those are the three key areas. It's part of our delivery model. The other big one I would say is think about internal user experience as much as you think about external customer experience, because it's those internal folks that actually help enable that experience for the customer in the end. And then the last one, I say this a lot with my team specifically, is what does good look like? Like ask yourself that question a lot, and then from there ask yourself what is good enough. When you have that mindset, you start realizing that, okay, like let me get this out to production pretty quickly and then iterate. And you have your pods and your teams kind of set up in such a way that you're okay with good enough, and then think about what good looks like in the end.
Yeah, so like an MVP and a
And then
fail fast,
iterate from
and
there.
let's iterate,
Yeah.
and then make it awesome.
Yeah.
Great, okay. So then, lastly, I suppose, what's next for Pet Valu? What are the two of you focused on now? Scott, you want to share?
Yeah, we're continuing on with those customer experiences that we're looking to achieve, some of the things that I mentioned there. We're really trying to, make sure that we live up to our promise for those devoted pet lovers, and we're there everywhere that they want to be. We are super excited to be really in control of our own destiny now. With our setup and with our engineering teams and with our pods, that we really get to choose the path, and we're super nimble so that as things change, we're able to react to those very quickly, and we're not locked into just something that we can't adjust when we need to. So we're excited to see what the future holds.
Great, Rohan?
Yeah, I would say we're also starting to look at what happens, what I call beyond the button. So what happens when you click submit? Okay. What happens after that? So we worked pretty hard to look at the experience up front and then kind of get to the end state. So what happens after the submit button is really what happens with order orchestration and your distributor order management. So we're starting to think about what does our OMS experience look like. There's a lot of unlocks there for our customers as well as internal team members, care teams. Personalization, you're hearing that a lot, and I think we heard that in Heather's presentation as well about AI. And we're looking at personalization, but personalization is not enough, right? It's really about curated, contextual, relevant experiences, and that's really what we're trying to think about. Where do we find these unlocks? It might be in search, it might be in emails, it might be in different channels of communication. Values in our name, so obviously we talk about loyalty and connections, so kind of digging down deeper into what that looks like. AI is something, I think it's been a hot topic for the last 2 days here. We're AI curious. By no means are we experts at it. We don't know more about what's actually happening in the space, so it was very informative for us to learn about it. We understand very specific things about AI, but really we're starting off with what does an AI governance policy and model look like? How do you adopt it responsibly? Where should you explore it? and also what does enablement look like. So that's some of the stuff that we're digging into on the AI side. Not saying that we're not using it, we are, but we're not, we're looking at it again and asking that first question is come at it intentionally. B2B, it was exciting to see how you guys are also thinking about B2B.
Yeah, absolutely.
B2B is another unlock for us. We're starting to go into that space. And now that we've decoupled our front end and our back end, multi-banner enablement. So Scott and I are looking at different banners across Pet Valu to see what we can kind of bring on board pretty quickly using the same architecture and model that we've used. So far, like the composable strategy is giving us the ability to be to innovate without compromise, and we're super excited about what this means for us from a speed, scale, agility, and a quality standpoint.
Perfect, amazing. Thank you very much. So, your successful transformation is a real testament to modern commerce technology, but also the collaboration, right? This internal collaboration. It's like a full organizational alignment. And I think that it's only when you tackle both these technical and the experiential challenges that you can really adopt it really well. And it looks like you're not only elevating your customer experience, right? But also you have a more agile and more efficient operation, you called it, right? Going forward. So I think this success really highlights, the importance of connecting people, which we even talked about on the first day and all the way through. In addition to AI, we talked a lot about that. While having this really strong customer focus that both of you have shown on stage. So as we conclude, I suppose, it's essential to embrace the change, or how did you call it? You had a word for it. You said, I don't know, flow with the change or something like that. Always be changing.
Right.
What was that? Yeah, and always keep the customer at the center. So I hope you all take these insights with you. And thanks everyone for joining us today.